Are you sick of seeing Pokemon GX and VMAX on the ladder? Do you just want to take some wins for free? Well, this Decidueye Inteleon list might be the deck for you. Welcome back everyone to more from the Sableyes. I'm Mitch, and today we're taking a look at Decidueye Inteleon. This deck list is a very, very powerful deck list that can stop Pokemon GX and VMAX from dealing damage, and then simultaneously win games very quickly. This deck comes from Haru Nishikawa, who won the Limitless Invitational very recently with this exact 60. So it's an incredibly powerful deck, and it can take it up to some of the best players in the world. So here's the deck list we're going to be looking at today. It is down in the description if you'd like to take that one onto PTCGO yourself. And whilst you're down there, if you could leave a like, that would be fantastic. Last video we aimed for about 300 likes, which we got. If we can get 350 likes in a day, we will get you another deck profile tomorrow at the same time, which is very exciting. Make sure you subscribe as well. Now, the main Pokemon we're going to be looking at in this deck is Decidueye. It's got a really, really cool ability and a very serviceable attack. The ability, Deep Forest Camo, means that Pokemon V and Pokemon GX cannot deal damage to your Decidueye when it is in the active position, and that means that it is impossible for some decks to win games against it. The Splitting Arrow attack does 90 damage for 1 grass and 1 colorless energy, which is pretty acceptable, and it also deals 20 damage to 2 of your opponent's benched Pokemon. We can combine Decidueye's attack with the brand new Inteleon from Chilling Reign. The quick shooting ability allows us to place 2 damage counters on one of our opponent's Pokemon, plus the Decidueye damage. We can potentially get ourselves close to taking some big knockouts. One of the best things about using this particular Chilling Reign Inteleon means we can have our Inteleon package. It's coming quite common at the moment. Drizzile and also Inteleon have the Shady Dealings abilities. Drizzile searches for 1 trainer and Inteleon searches for 2, and when you're looking for things like rare candy to evolve into your Decidueye, that can be very, very handy. Another important card to note in this list is the use of Big Parasol. This card is a very useful tech card for beating Shadow Rider Calyrex. If we attach it to our active Decidueye, it means that the effect of the basic Shadow Rider Calyrex V will not be able to place damage counters onto our Pokemon. This means that there is no way for that particular deck to deal damage to us, since most of their attackers are going to be VMAX or GX Pokemon. Apart from that, the list is relatively self-explanatory. Like I mentioned, it's down in the description, and whilst you're there, leave a like. Like I said, 350 likes will get you another video. Now, one of the good things about Decidueye is that you will win games relatively quickly. I'll probably show off a bunch of them here. I'm just going to use Capture Energy to find a basic Pokemon. I like the idea of actually getting, I think the Sobble is a good play. Actually, no, Sobble seems fine. We're going to get that, because then we can go for our Drizzile next turn. We should be able to rare candy into a Decidueye, which would be fantastic. But yeah, no, we should win games relatively quickly, because lots of Pokemon decks at the moment don't play any way to deal with Decidueye. They like to play with Pokemon V or Pokemon GX, and that means that decks such as this one that we're playing against with Metagross V is going to have a rough time against us. So if we can get a Decidueye set up, I wouldn't be surprised if we do cruise to victory here. Looks like they are going to evolve into Bronzong. Interesting choice to evolve the active, but I guess they've not got a huge amount else to do this turn. They're going to grab themselves a Zacian, and then we'll likely see an Intrepid Sword, which is a perfectly reasonable turn from them. We, on the other hand, should be good to get ourselves attacking here. I've got the Drizzile, which can search out some energy, so I'm going to use Drizzile here. Actually, what we should do, we'll go and we'll grab the Decidueye first, and we'll just double check. Yes, the Energy Spinner is in the deck, and we do have Grass Energy. Yes, we do, so we should be fine. What we're going to do is we're going to evolve into the Drizzile. We will grab ourselves a trainer card. We're going to grab Energy Spinner, thank you very much. And then we're going to use that Energy Spinner to grab the Grass Energy to power up our fresh Decidueye, which we now have in the active. I'll attach Big Parasol as well. Not that I think it's particularly relevant, but we may as well whilst we're here. We can play down that Grass Energy, and then Splitting Arrow will deal 20 to the Bronzor, and then 20 to, I think, the Metagross. Seems like the logical decision. We'll do that and place some damage counters there. Now we're in a relatively good spot. If they can't get this Bronzong out of the active this turn, then we'll take a prize with Splitting Arrow, and then we might even potentially be able to knock out the other Bronzor on the bench with our Inteleon with quick shooting, which would put our opponent in a pretty rough position straight out of the gate. In fact, they don't even want to continue playing. They've seen the Decidueye, they've gone, that's enough for me, thanks. Alright, so this time, a Blissy from our opponent. I think we need to get another Rowlet here. I think that's the only logical choice, because if we, I think this Blissy can potentially deal 60. It's 10 plus 30 for each energy. Yeah, so if they have a strong energy, a powerful colorless energy, they can actually knock the Rowlet out. So I'm going to get another one here. This hand is not as good as our other hand that we had, but I feel like Blissy is the type of deck. There's the powerful colorless energy, by the way. So we would have been in trouble. Blissy is the type of deck that does... realistically, it only plays one attacker, and it's going to be Blissy. So hopefully we can get ourselves a Decidueye set up, and if we can, then we should be able to win. It's the way these kind of games are going to go. Now, obviously, that's not going to be the case for every deck. Some decks do have ways of dealing with Decidueye. So if you are playing this deck, don't expect it to win every single time. But what I can guarantee you is that most of the decks that are playing VMAXs or Tag Team GXs are going to focus on those particular attackers. So if you are looking for a bunch of easy wins going up the ladder, then this deck will definitely do it for you. One of the problems, though, obviously, is that you shouldn't expect to win every single game, because that won't happen. Capture Energy is a good card to get. We're going to play that. We're going to grab ourselves another Rowlet, I think. We could get a Sobble, but I think the Rowlet is the smart thing. We do want to try and get out of Decidueye this turn if we can, but at the moment, we aren't necessarily guaranteed anything. I'll play down the Tool Jammer, and then Marnie will reduce our opponent's hand size, and we'll try and find ourselves something interesting. Doesn't look like we're going to be able to find it, though. We do have a Snorlax, however, so let's throw that down. We can play down another Rowlet as well, retreat into the Snorlax, and draw some more cards. We've not necessarily been super lucky, but we are in a position where next turn, as long as we can get ourselves a Evo Incense, maybe we can find a Pokemon search card, like a Level Ball, could find us Drizzile, then we'll be in a position to start attacking, well, not start attacking, but get our Decidueye into the active position, which is what we want to do. Now, our opponent, at the moment, has all the prizes that they need to take to win the game on the field, so we're going to need to remove some of them eventually. My gut feeling is that they're going to be taking a knockout on this Snorlax, and then we need to evolve one or two of these Rowlets into Decidueyes. I feel like, though, if we manage to get one Decidueye, then we should be fine, right? If we get one Decidueye in play, then we should be A-okay. So I'm going to go for it here. We're going to try and get that Decidueye in play this turn. We'll see what we can do. Our opponent has a big, beefy Blissy. Nice and powered up. We have top-decked into an Evo Incense. So there is a Decidueye for us. We could potentially go for the Drizzile, but I think we just guarantee the rare candy into the Decidueye here. Our opponent realistically can't do anything about this. Like, there's not a lot for them to do. We can attach, and then I think we just pass. Our opponent cannot knock out the Decidueye. They can knock out any of the Pokemon on the bench if they like, but they can only take 3 prizes now, and we need them to take 4 to win the game. So we should be good. Next turn we can start attacking. We can put down that Capture Energy and start using Splitting Arrow, and then we'll see how it goes from there. Our opponent throwing a bunch of energy in the bin with Hapu. This Blissy obviously relying on having energy in the discard pile to be able to power up their Blissy or Blissful Blast or whatever it's called. Crushing Hammer is a bit frustrating. It's very frustrating. Well, we won't be attacking next turn, but at least we've got the Energy Spinner in our hand, so we can use that potentially. They're going to go for the boss's orders off of the Pokegear, fair enough, but they've already used a supporter. They're just going to keep drawing cards with those draw energy. Looks like a pass incoming from our opponent. Yes, and it is now our turn. So let's throw down the Parasol. We'll throw down the Energy Spinner. I'm going to grab the Grass Energy. We'll put that onto the active and then pass again. We don't need to do anything other than this. We don't need to draw more cards. We don't need to evolve any of our Pokemon. Our opponent is the one that needs to win this game, not us. And we will eventually get past this Blissy. It's just a matter of how long my opponent elects to take before we beat them. They have got the Escape Rope, which is a little bit annoying. They'll take an extra prize, but it doesn't really matter, does it? Because we've got all the things that we need in play already, and that is one Decidueye. So we'll just promote that one once they've got all of their energies on there. And then I think we just play down the capture energy and then go from there. Like, I mean, there's nothing else to do. Sad faces from our opponent, yeah. All we need to do is just deal some damage and put some pressure on, and eventually our opponent will either scoop or lose. And this is just the way that these matchups go. So yeah, we just now we just make light conversation, I suppose. How's your weekend going? Week? How's whatever day this is going for you? Hopefully you've enjoyed yourself. Hopefully you like this Decidueye deck. I like it. I'm going to scoop up this Sobble because we're not finding any Drizzile, so there's no point in it being there. I'm also going to quick ball it away just in case they play something like a Mawile. You never know. We'll just attack for another 90. Next turn, this Blissy will be knocked out, and the one on the bench will be coming forward. There's pretty much nothing our opponent can do at this point. We just sit back and relax. They've decided that's enough for them. We get another victory. We're going for one more. We'll try and get a potential last game here. We've got Rare Candy, Pokémon, and Inteleon. I'm going to attach a Capture Energy to the bench and grab a Sobble, because this opens up a bit of a flexible option for us. We can either use Inteleon with the Rare Candy, which could potentially be the play, or we can calm the Inteleon away and grab a Decidueye. Now, our opponent is playing against, playing against us with a Pikarom deck, which is fair enough. This deck's pretty good, but it's only really got one way of dealing with Decidueye, and it is that Tapu Koko. So we will need to deal with that eventually. One of the good things that we have going for us, though, is that we do have the Inteleon line. Decidueye used to struggle because it did have problems knocking out the Tapu Koko in enough time for them to be able to go on to win the game. But we've got the Inteleon now, so we should be able to deal that extra damage that is required. Big Charm is frustrating, but not particularly relevant. I'm just going to electrify in our face here, and we are going to have to hope that we draw something off of our top deck here. We've been Marnied out of a relatively good hand. We've been given Erica's Hospitality. I mean, it's better than nothing. It'll only draw us a couple of cards. I'm going to Capture Energy, I think. Not really worried about attacking this turn. I think we're just going to play that down and get ourselves another Sobble on the bench. I think that's correct. And then we will use Erica. It's only for a couple of cards, but it's still worth doing. Rare Candy and Inteleon as well. Okay. So we can do one of two things here. We can either get our Decidueye, or we can get ourselves our Shady Dealings Inteleon. I think, as counterintuitive as it seems, I think it's going to be right to go for Shady Dealings here. Because Shady Dealings can get us another Rare Candy, but it can also get us another supporter for next turn, which is what I like. So I'm going to Rare Candy into our Inteleon. We'll grab 2 trainer cards. I will get 1 Rare Candy, and I'll get a... do I get a Rosa? Do I get a Research? What do I get here? We could just get an Evo Incense, because that could get us a Drizzile. Maybe a Level Ball. Maybe Level Ball is the right way to go here. Maybe Evo Incense, just to be safe. Let's go for the Level Ball. We can get the Drizzile. And that'll do a couple of things for us down the line. It'll obviously get us a supporter next turn, but it leaves the supporters in the deck, which means that we can't get like Marnied out of our supporter in our hand. But it'll also get us that little bit closer to a second Inteleon, which we can use with quick shooting. So I'd really appreciate that. The issue that we have is that we're going to lose this Rowlet this turn. They're either going to Bolt Storm to knock it out, or they're going to attach an energy to Tapu Koko and knock it out. My suggestion would be that Bolt Storm is probably the way to go. But, you know, anything could happen here. And a Chaotic Swell is a little bit frustrating. We are seeing a Marnie. There you go. So it's a good thing that we didn't get that supporter out. It means that now we've got as many outs to draw supporters as possible in our deck. So hopefully we can come up with one of them. We've come up with the Drizzile and the Professor's Research there. So I don't think we can realistically complain too much about that one. We'll be able to get ourselves a Shady Dealings off. We can search for pretty much anything here. I think another Decidueye is called for, to be honest. And then we can research, which I like. So, let's see. Oh, another Sobble as well. We'll play that down too. Thank you very much, Mr. Game. Drizzile, Shady Dealings will find us 1 trainer. That trainer will be an Evolution Incense. I will use that Evolution Incense to find ourselves a second Decidueye. and we will rare candy the active Rowlet into Decidueye and then play Professor's Research. And all we realistically need to do now is find a Grass Energy and start attacking. And we've found one. Fantastic. So we've got the Grass Energy, we've got the Inteleon for next turn, and look at that, our opponent doesn't even want to know about us. They just want to concede straight away. Well, let's try and find one more game then. So we are up against a Spiritomb in the active here. This could be any number of things. We could be seeing, there's a Spiritomb deck that's kind of like a counter to all the Shadow Rider Calyrex which is going on. That could be interesting. I was about to say it could be Eternatus, but Eternatus doesn't play Cherubi. What is this deck? What is Galarian Runerigus? Okay, well, that is not what I was expecting. Let's say that much. We do have a relatively good hand, so we can get ourselves set up. I don't know how Decidueye is going to go against Galarian Runerigus, to be brutally honest. I don't think anyone knows how anything's going to go against Galarian Runerigus. Well, we'll just wait and see. Maybe this game is an interesting one. Maybe we can get ourselves a win against a non-GX deck. That would be very interesting. I just discarded a Clara and another Runerigus, I think, so not ideal. And they've played down a Dedenne, so we can take a couple of prizes on that. They're going to use their Building Spite to get 10 damage on the active and then pass the turn. Fair enough. Alright, let's Rowlet here. We're going to throw that down. We're going to throw the Sobble down as well. We can attach the energy, and then we can just Gormandize. We don't need to do anything else. Our opponent's not putting enough pressure on us, realistically, for us to worry about it. And we've got 2 Evo Incenses in our hand. That means one of them can be for a Decidueye, and another could be for a Drizzile, if we'd like. Yeah, we should be able to get ourselves going here. Here comes a Cherrim with Spring Bloom, so obviously that's the way they're planning on powering up their Runerigus. Runerigai? Runerigus? Anyway, looks like they're having a bit of a think here. They're going to play down the Mew, so that'll stop us from dealing damage to the bench, which is a little frustrating. We might have to knock that out. Luckily, we have the boss in hand, so we can do that relatively easily if we'd like to. And they're going to play a Crobat. Good grief. Okay, so they're just going to fill their bench up with support Pokemon. They're going to want to find a Runerigus, Cofagrigus. No. What does it... Yamask? Is that what it evolves from? I don't know. Is it Yamask? I think there's so much stuff going on my opponent's side of the field. They've lost 2 Runerigus already. They've got that spreading spite attack. There's the Yamask. I was right. It is a Yamask. They've played it down. Okay, and they're attaching an energy to Mew. What is going on? They're just going to attack into us. Alrighty then. Now we don't need the boss, I guess. They're just going to Psy Power, deal 30 damage. They're going to probably put it on the Rowlet. And then it's our turn, but we've been given pretty much everything that we need. Let's play Capture Energy. We're going to put down another Rowlet, I think. Then we can get ourselves going with Evo Incenses and stuff. We need a Decidueye, and we might also want to get a Drizzile. We'll wait and see. Let's just evolve this Decidueye first. We definitely do want a Drizzile because we need to scoop this Snorlax up to get it out of the active. So we'll use the Evo Incense to grab the Drizzile. We'll just double check. We have 1 scoop up net in the deck. That is good news. So we will Drizzile for that. We will grab ourselves our scoop up net from the deck, and then we can scoop up the Snorlax. Now, another thing that we might need is we might need another Sobble. I don't know, actually. Let's just calm. Let's have a think about this. What could we use? I think we want another Sobble. That seems like the most likely option. We've got the Inteleon. We've got Gust. We've got Cynthia and Caitlin. We don't need to worry about it. Let's just Splitting Arrow. We don't really care where the damage goes on the bench. It's not going to matter. We take our first prize, but our opponent has an opportunity here to deal some damage with Runerigus. If it comes to it, we are going to be in a bit of trouble. We do have the Inteleon for shady dealings, of course, to get ourselves another Decidueye, but we don't have any energy on the field. So if they take a knockout this turn, we are going to have a bit of a rough time. To be honest, though, I don't know if they can take a knockout. Another Yamask. I'll throw that down. Going to attach a grass energy to the Spiritomb. I'm just perpetually attaching grass energies to retreat into Yamask. So they could have just had the Yamask on the bench in the active, but they elected to do this weird retreat play. They're going to use their Cherrim to put 2 energy on the Yamask, and then they're going to use Reckless Charge. Alrighty. And they deal 30 damage to themselves. Well, this is certainly something. I think we could make a really interesting play here. What we could do is we could try and knock out the Cherrim and the active Yamask at the same time. How much has it got? So 40 HP left. Okay, so let's calm away the Inteleon. We're going to grab the Drizzile. No, we're going to grab the Inteleon. That's what we're going to grab. I need the Inteleon. We're going to get that one. Then we can use Boss to bring up the Cherrim. We can use Quick Shooting to place 20 damage on the benched Yamask. And then we can Splitting Arrow. That'll knock the Cherrim out. Actually, should we bench this Sobble first? We probably should. Then we can Splitting Arrow, knock the Cherrim out, and we can place 20 damage counters onto the Yamask, and I think also onto the Spiritomb, because that means that next turn we can knock that out with our Quick Shooting ability as well. We'll take another couple of prizes here. There's a Scoop Up Net and also a Quick Ball. One of the problems with this play is that we don't get ourselves closer to another Decidueye, but our opponent can never attack this turn unless they play Twin Energy, and my gut feeling is that they don't. So, we'll see how we go. They're going to Level Ball here, grabbing themselves another Cherubi. Fair enough. Fair enough. They'll play that one down and evolve into Runerigus. They're going to play down Old Cemetery as well, so that means that any energy that we attach will deal 20 damage to our Pokemon unless they're Psychic Energy. So that's good for us in a way because the Runerigus is going to be dealing damage to itself. That's actually a really interesting... Excuse me, what? So we're just going to ignore the fact that that happened. Whatever happened in that last game, we'll just ignore it. Let's talk about the grade for this particular deck. I think it's really good. A, for playability, this thing can take on pretty much anything in the standard format at the moment and hold its own. It does struggle against decks that do play those one-prize attackers, but there are ways around it, and at the moment, it feels like a very, very strong pick. Consistency-wise, it does pretty much everything that it wants to do every time it comes out to play. Most of these decks in the past have always been relatively consistent, and the Inteleon from Chilling Reign and that Inteleon package for consistency just makes the decks that much better. Value-wise, I'm giving this one an S. This is an S-tier deck for value. Not only are you going to be able to pick up all the cards for this deck relatively cheaply, but it is also really, really good for the long-term prospects of the game. A lot of the cards that are in this deck are going to survive rotation, so if you pick this one up, you'll be able to play it for at least a year and a half, which is fantastic. The only downside for me is fun. I mean, sometimes it's not fun to not let people play, but, you know, each to their own. I'm giving this one an A. It's an A-grade deck. I think that it is big enough and bold enough to take on even the best in the standard format. And there we have it. That's the end of another video. Thank you everyone for coming past, especially to all of these people over here on the screen. I'm not going to read everyone's name out today. They know who they are. Especially Dadbot and Azazel. They're the real heroes. Appreciate it if you are a channel member. Appreciate it very, very much. If you'd like to join, there is a join button down below. It costs less than $3 Australian, so jump on in if you are interested in doing that. Otherwise, I will catch you next time for more from the Sableyes. Make sure we hit that 350 like goal. We'll see how we go. Now,